Hi everybody, thank you for stopping by my channel. A square pillow isn't square. This is the place where you will learn anything and everything you wanted to know about home deck sewing. Well, today I'm really excited because I'm going to start a series of videos of some of my favorite workroom tools, supplies, and equipment. Each video will feature 5 of my favorite items. Today's being the first video, we're going to start with numbers 1 through 5. If after watching the video you're interested in buying any of these items for your workroom, if you check the description section of my video, I'm going to have links to Amazon.com where you can find these or similar items. All right, let's get started. Workroom favorite number 1, my work apron. When I do my videos, I'm not actively working on trying to make a video, so you don't see a lot of this stuff. But this work apron is a really valuable tool to me. When you're doing home deck sewing, especially on a big table like this, unlike craft projects where you have a small space, I am always moving around this table. I'm working on both sides of it, I'm working down all lengths of it, I'm always on the move. I'm even up on top of it, you know, reaching for things or cutting for things. So having what I need with me saves me time, steps, and energy. So I've had this apron for probably 20 years, a long time, and I love it. It's lightweight, it's super comfortable, it's adjustable, it has just enough pockets without having too many, and some of the things I keep in these pockets, this pocket I usually keep a small tape measure, this pocket I usually keep my calculator, this pocket usually has my if I need to do some math or figure something out, I use these little golf pencils and a little notebook. And then I also always keep my soft tape measure in here as well. And I have a pencil or marking pen, sometimes a little sewing gauge, and I'll also usually keep chalk in here. So wherever I'm moving on my fabric, wherever I happen to be standing, I have whatever I need at any moment. Work apron, great tool. Favorite number 2, scissor holster. The next thing that's really important, and I love and I've had forever, is this scissor holster. This is a solid leather holster. I can't find this exact one. I've had it again for a long time, but I found one really similar that I'll link to in the description. And what I like about it, it has these 2 slits in it. These work aprons come with a loop here that's designed to hold a hammer. But what I did is I cut this. I slipped my, I guess my hammer loop is what it is, through this, and I sewed it back down again. So I have a permanent holder for my scissor holster, and wherever I am, I've got my scissors with me. Super handy. Favorite number 3, my wrist pin cushion. The other thing I'm decked out with is I always have some kind of a wrist pin cushion. This one's magnetic. I've used several different kinds. They all have their pros and cons. I've linked to one that I think will work pretty well for you here. There's some big soft ones you can find online. But a lot of the ones that don't have a hard backing, if you stick the pin in too far, you can poke your wrist. So it's nice if you can find one that has some kind of a hard backing. These magnetic ones work pretty well and they hold a surprising amount of pins. And what's nice about those is the exact same thing. You know, if you have a box of pins, like I also keep pins on a magnetic holder like this, which I usually keep by my sewing machine. But if your pins are here and you're over there, and you need a pin to mark a direction or mark the top or mark where you want to cut something or pin things together, you got to walk around your table and go get them. So I always like to have pins with me wherever I go. Favorite number 4 are the type of pins that I like to use in my workroom. I want to show you the pins that I use. There's only one kind that I really like, and I actually was able to find them on Amazon, the exact pins that I like. And I'll show you why I like them so much. This, just for reference, is your basic dressmaker pin. They are small And they're perfect if you are doing, sewing with fine fabrics. If you're using chiffon and silk and very lightweight cottons or whatever for clothes, these are great, but I mean, they're super easy to bend and they're small. When you're doing home deck sewing, you are using, large amounts of fabric, sometimes very thick amounts of fabric, and these little pins, I mean, they can't even, they just don't get the job done. They are too small and they're too weak for the kind of sewing that we do in this field. These pins, I'm going to just show you the difference. As you can see, they're much thicker and stronger, and they're also much longer. And the longer length really helps you when you're working with thicker amounts of fabric. And because they're longer, you use a lot less pins. Whereas you have a big pin that you can just stick in and out like that, you know that this is strong, it's long enough, and it's not bending, it's not going anywhere. They have glass heads, and the nice thing about glass heads is when they come into contact with your iron, which I promise you they will not melt. And they're also a coated steel. They're just super, super strong. So pins, hugely important. And again, I've linked to the ones that I like the best in the description. And the last of today's favorites is a 60-inch ruler. One of the most important tools that I have and I use every single time I sew is something as simple as a ruler. This is an aluminum 60-inch 2-inch wide ruler. This tool is really valuable to me for a lot of reasons. Not only does it easily accommodate an entire width of home decor fabric, it also works really well as a smoothing tool. So when I unroll fabric or when I'm just laying it out, I'll square it up, but then often there's still bumps and lumps in it, and I'll use this tool to make sure that it's smooth and flat. Another thing this ruler is really good for is, let's say you're making a valance and your fabric has a pattern on it. You have so many inches that you need to allow for the length of your valance, and you want to figure out what your pattern is going to look like. I'll often use one of these large, I have an old wooden one here. I'll often use these large rulers to sort of visually mark off the area that I need to use for my project, and decide, I can slide it up and down and in and out, and I can decide what part of the fabric that I really like how it looks right there. It helps me see that. Another thing this ruler is good for is it's 2 inches wide, and a lot of times when I'm making bias strips to cover fabric welt or cording, or to make little flanges or whatever I need small strips for, I can actually just lay this across my fabric. It's already 2 inches wide, and I can use chalk or marking pen and just follow the lines, move it down, make another line, and I can easily mark my 2-inch strips for my welt cord. That's some of the many uses that this ruler is good for. Again, one of the first tools I reach for whenever I start a project.